Automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, around the nation, automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation. Around the nation, around the nation, around the nation. Welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, the show for business leaders, tech aficionados, and those who are just simply curious about where technology and business are going. Automation Nation is your gateway to understanding automation, AI, and the future of business. Don't get left behind. Tune in now and subscribe for more. Welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for another conversation, another great conversation. And I thank you for tuning in wherever you are, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or if you're listening to the replay on Spotify, iTunes, and any of those platforms, make sure you drop into the comment section and you connect with our guests, because you're always going to want to connect with whoever I'm talking to. I'm going to tell you, there's always something valuable. There's some nuggets. They're going to come out, because I like talking to people who have nuggets. When I say nuggets, you guys know those are wisdom nuggets. Nick, those are wisdom nuggets we're talking about. We're not talking about those nuggets from, the fake meat. We're talking about the real meat. Okay. So I'm gonna read a little bit of Nick's bio from LinkedIn here. I like this, a little bit of it. So as the CEO of TOA Global and coach to entrepreneurial accounting firms and owners, he leverages his 20 years of experience in the financial services and accounting industry to help firms solve the talent crisis, right, and grow their businesses. Because the talent crisis is a real crisis, and wow, if you could solve that problem, I'm sure a lot of companies would love that solution. He's an accounting offshore specialist, a coach to high-performing accounting firms, speaker, and podcaster. Nick Sinclair, welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, my friend.
Rob, thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Well, I'm always excited to talk to somebody who knows more than I know in something, because, if I could learn something more than I knew yesterday, I feel like I'm a better person. And then I'm an even better person, Nick, if I can learn something and I can share with my audience something to learn. How about that one?
100% love it. Same mentor as me.
Listen, okay, well, we're powered by Simply Automate, Nick, and we ask all our guests this first question. If you could simply automate one thing in your personal life, what would that be?
If I could automate one thing, that's always a tough one, because there's so many things that you want to be able to automate. I think I've automated a lot of things. That's the thing. There's so much in my life that I've already automated. But if I could do one thing in my personal life, it would be the coordination of all of my kids' activities. There is so many. I've got 3 kids. There is so much going on in their life. I got hundreds of emails from the school, pickups, drop-offs, social lives. That would be it.
That's it, man. That's one of the top answers. One of the top answers, man. Nick, so let's jump into it. Who is Nick Sinclair, and why do you do what you do? Because we know you were inspired to start TOA. Let's talk about this. Let's be real clear about it and give the folks some insight on who Nick is.
Yeah, so I just call myself the average guy, but I think that, I got into this industry because my parents got given what I call bad advice and bad guidance from their accountant, and they lost everything. So, that really gave me that spark of passion to get into this industry and help accountants really create time so they can spend that with their actual clients. Because I think that, at the end of the day, accountants drive and help economies thrive by driving the small businesses that they serve. But a lot of the time we're just buried doing the actual tax work. They don't have time to be able to spend with their clients on the things that really matter. So, I started off in doing every job when I was When I finished school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was studying environmental science at university. I dropped out of that pretty quick. I didn't know what I was wanting to do, so I pretty much did every job that you could do. And then I fell in love with financial planning when I was working at one of the banks, and that got me into the industry. And then I fell into running my own firm really early because I was the top performer at that financial planning firm. And, you know, being young and naive, I was 21. I asked for equity. I asked to be a partner after being in the role for 3 months. And they said no, of course. So I said, oh, I'll go out on my own and do it on my own. And they sort of looked at me and went, well, good luck, young guy. And then I went out there and did it. And I think how I fell into accounting, which is probably the relevant part, was I got sick of waiting for accountants. We had a financial planning and a finance area of our business. And I got sick of waiting on the accountants to give us the deliverables so that we could go to the bank and refinance our clients to help them save money. And we were always waiting for the accountants. They were our biggest pain point. And I thought, oh, can't be that hard to run an accounting firm. So I went out there and we bought one. We started one from scratch, and then we bought a small parcel of fees, plugged it in, and then I realized how complex it actually was. So I've got a commerce degree in financial planning and investments. Technically, I am a qualified accountant in Australia, but I've never done a tax return. So I've never actually done any tax work, but I have given advice and run an accounting business. And then that sort of fell into, I was going on a roadshow with a guy called Rob Nixon, who's a coach in Australia. He does a lot of coaching globally, actually. Probably one of the best coaches to accountants I've ever seen. And he went on did a roadshow called Capitalizing on the Cloud. And this was back in 2014 when cloud wasn't really a thing in the industry. And he wanted me on stage to talk about the outsourcing and back office that I was doing, because he was really talking about getting advisors to do more advisory services. And I had 5 firms come up to me after that saying, look, we don't want to replicate what you've done. You've got your back office over in the Philippines. Can we put some people in with you? And I call it being entrepreneurial. It was really a young and dumb moment again where I said yes. And I had 90 people after that roadshow working for other firms. And, you know, fast forward 10 and a half years, we're now 3,500 team members with offices in the US and 4 other countries. And putting on about 200 roles a month. So that's a high level snapshot of my journey.
Yeah. That's a good, nice snapshot right there. Nice snapshot. You know, but what are some of the challenges? You know, let's talk about some of those challenges that accounting firms face and when trying to grow, and how do you help them? You know, because you know, growing is everybody wants to grow, but if you don't grow the right way, you get growing pains severely. And so, you know, what's something that we can do with some mindful thoughts you can share with folks on maybe some things to look out for, challenges?
I think it's an interesting one because we were traditionally an outsourcing company, and then we call ourselves a talent solutions business now. We help accounting firms with accounting talent across multiple countries. I think that, you know, and that really was one of the reasons why we've opened up a coaching business for accounting firm owners, because a lot of them would struggle to be able to forecast when they needed people. They would struggle with a lot of the people strategies. And I think that when you look at an accounting firm's cost, 30 to 50% of their cost is people. Yet the amount of time that a partner or anyone in the firm spends on actual people strategies or on their people, growing, mentoring, developing, is tiny. It's almost irrelevant. So a lot of the challenges that firm owners, I think, have is that they're just too busy. They don't have time to work on the business to improve it. There's no shortage of clients. There's not a lot of accounting firms that have to do a significant amount of marketing unless you're a bigger firm, because you want to grow at a faster rate. But small firms don't struggle to get people. And so I think you've got this challenge of, we've got too many clients coming to us. We're not running the business like a business. We're really running it, particularly the smaller firms under 50. They're sole traders with a bunch of team members working for them. They're hired helpers as opposed to it being a proper business. So a lot of the industry are operators rather than owners of a business. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And that comes into, they're not spending enough time focused on their people because they're too busy. And when you go through and look at the efficiency of the firm, which is obviously, we're talking about automation, a lot of them are just, they've got people, they come to us and employ people globally to do things that technology and automation could do if they spent the time and potentially money just to get it automated. But yet they'd rather employ someone, and because they don't have time to think about it, it's just, let's just chuck more people at the problem.
Yeah, that kind of bring me to the next point in question. And everyone says, well, what role do you see AI and really, in particularly automation playing in the future of accounting?
Yeah, look, I'm excited by AI. We've got a huge data team, and we have for many years been playing and building our data lake and getting ready for AI. And internally, what we're doing with AI, I'm super excited about, and I can see it adding massive value to the accounting industry. Again, it's one of those things like cloud accounting, though. It's going to take some time to come in. The biggest thing for me at the moment with accounting firms is, unless you're a larger firm, just implement the tools that you have already got access to, like Microsoft Copilot and other bits and pieces, rather than trying to go out there and build AI strategies for your firm. A lot of the technology companies that you use in the industry will end up building AI, but I think it'll be a game changer. I think cloud accounting took a significant amount of work off an accountant's desk, so they don't have to do a lot of the routine and mundane. I think AI is just going to take it to another level, but in a positive way. Accountants will never be replaced. Our clients need the human connection. They need the guidance and advice from a person. A lot of what we do, you could go and find on Google, but the reality is they want that reassurance, and it's putting the strategies together, which is what a human's needed. So I think relationships and client management will become significantly more important as AI really develops and drives in. But AI is a positive thing for the industry because it's going to free up more capacity to do the right level of work with a client, as opposed to routine and mundane, which technology can do.
Free up more capacity to do that value work for sure.
Stuff that matters, meaningful work.
Yep, meaningful work, and it's not like the work that's repetitive or mundane is not important, but it's not important for a human being to do it. Humans are special. Now, don't get me wrong. 100 years ago or so or less, it was okay for us to do robotic work. We were happy to put the wrapper candy in the wrapper, hit the hammer on the nail. Like that was part. It was new for us. But you flash forward, humanity has evolved, and so should business. Now, the thing about it is, everyone's not evolving, and they're not. The innovation is slow inside companies. Nick, well, what do you do to help foster that innovation within your teams, and also not just your teams, but teams that you coach?
I think the biggest one is having a very clear strategy of where you want to be and what you want to do. So innovation it's a buzzword that a lot of people think they're doing, but I think when you look in the accounting industry, there's not a huge amount of innovation, to be honest, because a lot of it is guided by the tech companies that supply to the industry. So you've got your Intuits, you've got your Xeros, you've got your Sages, you've got all your big corporate softwares. And they do innovate, and they definitely bring things to the industry. But as accounting firm owners, I can't see a huge amount of innovation. Now, there definitely is some, but I think when you're looking at it from a strategic point of view, it's who do you stand for as a business? What is your firm's purpose? And then ultimately, how do you stay ahead and differentiate yourself? So how do you not, even in what we do, there's thousands of outsourcing companies, but there's a lot of things that we do to innovate and stay ahead of our competitors. And I think that is the key part of when you're doing your strategy, it's how do we stand out from the crowd and not be the average? Because I don't want to be average. I want to be exceptional. I want to stand out, and I want to be the number one provider in what we do. So I think for me is that we have to continuously innovate, because your competitors will copy you within 12 months. It'll look and feel like they do what you do, even though a lot of the time, they don't have the process and system. So for me, innovation is how do you stand out from the crowd and ultimately provide more value to your clients and be able to do more for them. That's the only reason that we innovate, is because I want to add more value to our clients.
How do we start? How do we start to identify that?
Well, I think that's easy, to be honest, because it's just talk to your clients. It's find out what they want. It's when I had my financial planning and accounting firm, we would have what we call how's it going phone calls, that every quarter we would just call our clients. We wouldn't charge them for it. We wouldn't put it on the clock, but we would ring and just go, how are things going? And it was always amazing. The more, and this is something that I always train my team, and they always struggle with it before they did it, but the more we spoke to our clients, guess what? The more work we got out of them. And guess what else? We also found out all their pain points. We went and visited them in their environments and found out all their challenges. And guess what happens when you find out their challenges? You can innovate. You can find solutions that you can then offer to solve for them. And a big part of that, to be honest, was we had a technology side when I had my accounting firm where we automated a lot of what they were doing, because a lot of what they do is manual. So a lot of the pain points that we have with collecting information from them was because their internal processes within their business were not automated. So we would go and fix that problem, because that's the problem with them getting the information to us. They didn't want to go into a client portal and put all their stuff in. It took time. So how do we automate it so it just naturally happened? And that's innovation, and that's something different that others aren't doing. And that was, that was 8 years ago. So there would be, I'm a bit out of practice, you could say. There'd be a lot of things that you could do now that would help your clients succeed more.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's your team. You said you got 3,000 over. How many people in the company?
There's 3,700, and we put on a couple of hundred a month at the moment.
Okay, that is exceptional. Now let's talk about how you organize these teams, because see, there's been a lot of issues when you're talking about overshore, and there's been all these hangups, but there's also been some success. Now, there hasn't been a lot, but there's been some success. And if you understand what the success looks like, you could duplicate it. Sounds like you've done that. Then maybe talk about how you've been able to create these successful offshore, and you have onshore. You basically both. You have a global team. How do you keep that all together and make sure that your brand is able to speak from the language that you want?
I think our model is a little bit different, where we provide accounting firms of people and then they manage those teams, but we provide the environment, the training, the mentoring, the coaching for them to be able to do it. And the firms that are really successful with implementing this strategy is you treat it like they're your team. They just happen to be in another location. So I think COVID was a great thing, the pandemic. There was lots of negatives out of that. But the good thing that came out of that was remote work and learning how to manage people that are not in an office, because that's in essence what a global team is. So to be successful, it requires strong communication. But most importantly, when you're building a global team strategy, you need an actual strategy. Because a lot of people are like, I just can't find someone in Fort Worth. Our office is in Fort Worth, Texas. So, we can't find someone. There's no one applying for the role. Let's just put someone offshore in another country that costs 1/3 of the cost. They're not going to, it's not like for like. It's very different. You need to understand the culture of where they are. You need to understand their environment, the background, their experience. They probably don't have a US experience. So a lot of it is coming down to, don't just do it as a short-term tactic. You need to do it as a long-term strategy, and it can add massive value to your business. There is no shortage of talent. We get over 2,000 applications every single month. So there's no shortage of talent in the regions where we operate, but a lot of it comes down to where you've heard all the stories where it doesn't work. A lot of the time it's because the firms, building a global team only accelerates how bad process and systems are and exposes firms' flaws. So all the bad stories you hear, a lot of the time, 99.9% of them, it's because the firm's not run properly. It's normally not the offshore team. It's because the firm don't have strong process. They don't know how to train and manage people remotely. Like, we've got 1,000+ firms globally that are absolutely nailing this, that are employing 3,700 people. If it's failed for you, probably look at why. And in some cases, it could be the provider, it could be different things. But the reality is, most of the time, it exposes flaws because you're operating with someone in a different country that you can't, meet with. It exposes lack of process. It exposes lack of systems and lack of technology. Like I said at the start, a lot of the things that our team are doing, you could automate and not even need a human, but for some reason firms won't do that. You'd rather just pay someone to do the work. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. Uh, let's talk about personal development. Let's talk about that a little bit. How do you create? Because that's a huge component. Like for me, I have a routine. You don't get to be the person that you dream to be. You get to be the person that you plan for. That's just really what you can call it. So, what are some things you do? And you also share with your team and help your teams grow. I'm curious to know this.
Yeah, look, I think that one thing I learned is that a business can only grow as to the point or to the level of its leader. And that was something that I learned growing a business when I was young, is that the business hit ceilings, and a lot of the time it was because of my ceiling. It wasn't because of anything else. So I invest quite heavily in my own personal. We make sure that every single one of our team members globally has what we call a professional development plan. It is in line with their career, so we know what their career goals are, we know what their aspirations are, and we set a 9-year education plan for every single one of our team members. Now, we do own an education company, and a big part of buying or starting that education company was because we believe so much in developing our people and giving them real qualifications. And it's not just technical, it's what are the soft skills that they need? What are the things like privacy policy and compliance things that you just need to do? So there's 3 elements. There's the compliance training that we just have to do. Then there's the soft skills that are really the main part of the training that people need. And then there's the technical capability for them to continue to grow and develop their careers. Now, I personally love personal development. I've got 5 coaches in different areas in my life at the moment. I'm part of Tony Robbins' Platinum program. I'm part of Dan Martell's Elite training program. I'm part of Taki Moore's Black Belt training. I read a book every fortnight. I listen to probably 1 to 3 hours worth of content a day, either reading or audio. I went through a rut a couple of years ago where I realized where my life wasn't where I wanted to be. And I had to look in the mirror and realize why. And it was because of me. I wasn't growing and developing. So I'm a huge advocate that if you're a leader of a business, you need to inspire your team by doing the actions, not talking about it. So if you want people to be better people, show them the activities that you do for them to enable to go and be inspired to do what you do. Don't tell them to go and read more, learn more, grow and develop. Show them what you're doing. And that should inspire them to do it. But if you're not growing as a person, you're not becoming a better leader and a better person, then you can't expect your team to do it. And why would you expect them to do something that you're not? And remember, they're only going to be as good as your aspirations are for them and what you do to develop and make them better.
That's good, man. That's good, Nick. I like that. That's good. Your team is only as good as you aspire that you think they're going to be. How you are encouraging them to be. Okay. All right, we got our last couple questions here coming in for Landon. All right, and then I wanted to see if there's any questions out there. One person was like, "Okay, how long have you been in business?"
20 plus years.
20 plus years.
Okay. 20 plus years now, and I've been with TOA Global. Started 10 and a half years ago.
Okay.
I had my firm for over 10 years.
Thanks for that question, Jackie. Let's see. What's the simple one? Oh, yeah. Boom. If you could simply automate one thing in your business life, Nick. Now, this is hard, especially people like you that always have thought about these things all day long. But if you could automate one thing right now, just one thing you could think of to just automatically have it automated, boom, what would that be?
It's hard. I mean, I focus a lot on reducing my time and getting rid of everything that I shouldn't be doing. So I do this every month. I review my diary. Every week I do review it. So, and I've automated a lot of it. At the moment, for me, it would be learning if I could automate the actual training of how to use Copilot and AI, so that I didn't have to invest all the time in doing that. But it's all the little things, and this is what I look at and it's probably hard for me to answer because I do this my EA and I are always looking at how do we make things more effective and efficient and automate things. So we're pretty optimized. It's not, if you asked me this 6 years ago, I could have given you about 9 different things.
That's good.
Yeah, I think for me, I look at this regularly, but I think it's the little things. Like if I was to give advice to anyone that isn't on that as far down the journey as I am on automation, look at all the little things you have to do. And it could simply be, if you're having to do data entry or put things from one system to another, just automate it. Like, get rid of the simple. And a lot of the simple is look where you spend most of your life and i.e. time. Most of your time is in your inbox. So how do you automate your inbox? That's the first area that I would really focus on. And that's, to be honest, where I do focus, because that's the part where we spend, firm owners spend way too much time sitting in front of a computer in emails rather than talking to their clients that are ultimately who we're here to serve.
Right.
So get out of your inbox, automate it.
Automate it. Big. Speaking, get some more advice is coming out here. Give us your best piece of business advice, man, and favorite quote.
Favorite quotes: if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I think a lot of people will turn up and listen to a thing like this, and then they do nothing. They hear some great things throughout, the half an hour that we're together, but then they don't implement it. And guess what? If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Nothing changes,
that's a big one for me.
I like that. So your best piece of business advice would be to change something, huh?
Implement. I mean, winners implement. I think that's the big thing for me. The business advice is be very clear on your purpose and strategy, inspire others to want to be part of it, and then implement. It's not hard to stand out, particularly in the accounting industry, because service is not great.
It's not great, right?
But that's what we need to lift. We need to change it. Accounting is a great profession. It has a really bad brand. Yeah. But that's because of the brand that our customers also give us, because they don't sing high praise. We're too buried in our work. We don't have time for them. So focus more on customer excellence, customer experience over customer service. Service is what they pay you for. Experience is why they stay.
Come on.
Give them an experience. And then, funny enough, things will change. The industry will improve.
That's it. Give them the experience. Give them the experience. Be very clear, and then implement it. This is, and this brother lives by it. This is the CEO of our company, Simply Automate.
Love it.
Yeah. And said that's clear, and then implement. That's a huge component. Without the clarity, a process could take 6 months to implement. With clarity, 6 days. We've seen it. We've seen it, man.
Yes, speed wins. And I think that's what too many people muck around and we'll do it when we've got time. You will never have time. Get it done. And this is a big part of why I'm so passionate and love what you do. The more you automate, the more freedom you give your team members to do the work that actually matters. Stop getting humans to do things that technology can do. They don't want to do it. They don't get it's not meaningful work for them. Let them do the things that they should be doing, that they went and studied all those years for.
Right.
But then you need to train them and give them the skills to do that, because if they're not doing the routine and mundane, they need the skills to be able to communicate and do, because they typically don't have to do that in their job.
Right.
So you're going to have to double down on them.
Yeah.
So that's why I think a lot of firms struggle, because we'll automate it, but then we've got to train our team members on how to do it because they can't do it. Well, you know what? It's a great problem to have.
Great problem to have. Great problem to have, man. Nick, this has been great. And great problem to have, and I love the problems you're solving. How can people get in contact with you and reach out to you? What's the best way?
Yeah, best place is just Nick Sinclair on LinkedIn, Instagram. I've got a whole media team that really, my big focus is to provide more education like this. I love what you're doing. Because I think that we've got a wonderful and great industry. I think we just need to amplify that. So I put out a lot of content. Nick Sinclair on pretty much all the platforms, and hopefully help you and inspire you to do more meaningful things, to grow a business with more purpose and give your humans at work for you more value and level them up.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And that's the goal, ladies and gentlemen. The goal is to inspire our people, do great work, and inspire our people to continue to keep doing great work. Because when you do that, like I love what you said, it's not about the service. It's not about the service. It's about the experience. The service should come with it. Like that's just giving the people what they're paying for. But 100%. The experience is what they remember. And it reminds me of the Maya Angelou quote. It's like people may not remember what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Right? They may not remember what you say or do, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Nick, made me feel good, man, with this conversation. I appreciate you, man. And thank you. Who else? We got another comment on here? Oh, yes, Will, it's a great conversation, great information. Always, man. We're always hitting home runs. This was good, Nick. This is on many fronts. And so, folks, reach out to Nick, contact him, and like I said, his information will be down here in the comment section, or in the or if you're listening to this on iTunes, you can find it in the description. His information. So remember this: you don't know what you don't know. Okay, you don't know what you don't know. So you have to get around people who know more than you. That's how you can be in the know. Until next time. Automation, 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 automation.